Hey guys, this is Alexander here again, and in this video I'll be covering 13 different pieces. Many of them will involve different styles, characters, and categories that you may find interesting. Anyways, let's move on to the first picture. So, this drawing right here was illustrated by Reality Check My Art. It showcases 3 different characters who are placed in 3 different angles. Also, I really like the fact that the artist made this canvas into a rectangular shape. In doing so, it made it easier for these characters to be shown evenly while providing a lot of space. Also, to me, this piece looks like it was done from using different types of brushes made specifically for watercoloring. I'm fully aware that this is a digital piece as it mentions in the category section, but the more I observe it, the more I think of it as a traditional piece. Also, I do want to mention that the mixture between night and day looks really fascinating, especially how 2 of these colors are blended into one element. The following piece is a digital bust drawing done by B.N. Gordon. When I first looked at this piece, I was quite amazed by how beautiful it looked. The artist has done a spectacular job in illustrating the character's head, but what captures my attention the most is the elegant coloring behind it. Also, the details on the character's hair looks very nice, but I would recommend to provide a little bit more lighting rather than keeping her hair entirely black. But overall, I find this piece to be beautifully well drawn. Next up is a drawing titled Random Girl that was drawn by this user. Anyways, I really like the fact that the character's design is quite simple, but it would be nice if the artist expanded her size to fit in the middle section of the canvas. Also, her coloring looks decent, but I believe it's a good idea to clean up your outlines so they won't appear to be very scribbly looking. By the way, I suggest bringing her waist down to the bottom of the canvas so that her bottom half won't appear completely invisible to the viewers. Something like this would be a good example to represent what I'm saying. Overall, this picture does require a few improvements, but I do find her choice of colors to be on this picture to be quite nice. Moving forward is a traditional piece done by Helvetica. As mentioned from the description, this piece is a 4x4 painting that showcases Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad. I do like the artist's art style, and I can easily tell that this character is in fact Harley based from her appearances alone. By the way the artist painted this looks somewhat good, but the thing that bothers me is the texture of this canvas. The way it's interfering with the colors of this painting makes it look slightly off, especially when you bring it closer to your view. Honestly, I highly suggest picking a different canvas that has smoother textures and it's also best to purchase one that has good weight in terms of its thread density, which is the amount of natural fibers. It's also a good idea to avoid getting a canvas that weighs lower than 10 ounces, and I'm actually referring to the thread density, not the actual size of the canvas. Next up is a bust drawing of Jacksepticeye that was illustrated by SL1MY Salamander. Anyways, the drawing itself looks well drawn, and I really like the fact that the artist has showcased his head in a side view angle. Also, I find the cartoonish art style to be very appealing. While observing close at this piece, I realized that the artist has done an impressive job in carefully outlining the many physical features of Jack. But I do have one complaint about the design of this eyeball. I think the artist should have drawn this one a little bit more circular. Also, it's important to keep your lines together whenever you're outlining over your original sketches. After all, a good presentation is key. So, what I have here is an OC named Ashleen, and this piece was illustrated by Zoe Ducky. Actually, I find the character design to be quite creative, and her attire looks somewhat interesting. Also, looking closely at this picture, the artist has done a great job in capturing the anatomy, the colors, and the line art as well. Of course, the character's feet could use some more work, so I would recommend looking up different references of feet that showcases them in different angles and sizes. So far, I have another deviation, but this one was done by this user. Obviously, I can tell that this is an OC that resembles to the show called My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. While looking at the section, I realized that she's done some other pictures that features other characters that are based from or even originally from this series. I actually spoke to the artist on DeviantArt, and she did mention that she actually illustrated this piece from scratch. Also, hearing from her response, I was extremely surprised, especially since her OC design looks something straight off from the series itself. But moving on, I find the character's entire appearance to be very creative, to its long hair, interesting expression, long bushy tail, and its nice cutie mark, which happens to be a picture of a bird chirping with musical notes shown. Anyways, I see nothing wrong with this drawing, but I do recommend to the artist to experiment with different body types and possibly different angles, and even working with additional features for your characters. Also, I do want to mention that I consider this piece as one of my most favorites from her art gallery. Next is another original character, but this one goes by the name of Andrea, and this one was illustrated by this artist over here. I must admit, while looking at this picture, I'm incredibly surprised how much level of detail that this artist has illustrated here. Its overall appearance looks absolutely professional, and I'm truly impressed with the use of coloring. Honestly, I would give this drawing 2 thumbs up for how awesome it looks. By the way, I like the fact that the artist did a spectacular job in implementing a nice slim figure on the character's body. Also, I like the fact that the background is kept simple, but of course I do find it interesting that they've actually added the character's shadow to be part of the background as well. So yeah, I have no complaints about this picture whatsoever. The following piece I'll be covering is a traditional sketch of Sans from Undertales, which was done by MacLeod. Honestly, it's not half bad. I find his cracked skull to be pretty cool since it really shows off his crazy side. But I do realize that the outlines on the sections appears to be slightly different from one another in terms of the boldness. By the way, I like how the artist depicted Sans viewing the audience in a frontal position, giving the rest of the viewers to see his overall design. Also, when I was looking at his butcher knife, I realized that his hand seems a bit small. I suggest increasing the size on that one, so that it could be well even. Anyways, I do want to mention that this drawing of Sans looks pretty nice, but his slippers could have drawn a little bit better, especially since both of them doesn't really represent the same size and weight. Moving on to the 10th piece, which was drawn by Pixel the Fox with the title of This Dork. Anyways, this character is from an animated project called A Heartbeat that showcases a male student holding on to his love for another male student. By the way, due to the video receiving so much attention and positive feedback, it actually caused a tremendous amount of artists to draw a lot of fan art of these 2 lovable characters, which I found to be very neat. Anyways, Pixel has done a great job in illustrating this piece. I really like how he captured the character's personality very well, and his art style really resonates with the character's overall design. By the way, his depiction of the heart from the short film looks very adorable, and I find his expression to be very appealing to look at. Also, this entire picture looks really great, and one of the things that captures my eye the most is how the artist drew the shading in form of multiple hash lines or quick scribbles, especially on the desk area. Of course, it would be nice to see him use different types of shading to implement on his other work, but of course, that's just my thoughts. What I have here is a painting titled Infinity, and this one was done by Emily7896. Anyways, I really like this painting a lot. I find it interesting that Emily depicted the bear in a form of a silhouette. Also, I understand that the silhouette is meant to be a dark shape with black outlines, but I find it creative how she colored the deer with various colors. In doing so, it looks like I'm staring into deep space or some kind of galaxy, which makes it more believable in my perspective. By the way, her background of the forest looks very nice, and I like how she painted an abstract-like setting. With that specific theme, it really correlates with the picture of the deer. Overall, I find this piece to be very breathtaking and very beautiful to look at. Moving on to number 12 was a drawing done by a user named AlexPainter15. In the title, it mentions that Alex has done his own very first OC, and I must say, he did a fantastic job for drawing his first ever original character. Anyways, I find this character design to be quite charming, and I really like the fact that he limited himself to using 3 different types of colors. Also, I find it nice that he drew his OC expressing different emotions, rather than just using one reaction. The anatomy looks decent, and his use of shading looks presentable, and his outlines appear to be very clean. Of course, I do see a few sections where the outlines appear to be loose, but it's always important to clean up your outlines before submitting your finished designs. So far, the last piece I'll be checking out is a picture of Mario from the Nintendo games. By the way, this one was drawn by this user who goes by Traditional Drawing. Anyways, I can definitely see that this is truly Mario based from his overall design and attire. Also, this drawing looks somewhat okay, but I do spot a few areas that could use a few changes. For instance, the way his index finger is positioned seems a bit tied off. I would recommend to reveal it more while keeping the measurement the same as his ring finger. By the way, I suggest placing his legs in a straightforward angle rather than letting him lean into one direction. Also, I would draw out his eyes more precisely by doing a complete 360-degree overall while using a light pencil so you can easily erase any minor mistakes. Again, this picture of Mario looks okay, but I highly recommend exploring different images of him to help you draw him. But looking up tutorials is also a good option too. Well, that was fun. Anyways, thank you all for watching my 8 overview video, and be on the lookout for my 9th one, which will probably arrive within a week or two. By the way, I do want to give a huge thanks to the amazing people for these amazing fan art drawings of me. It really puts a smile on my face to see these great pieces with my own 2 eyes. Also, I would love to see more in the future. Anyways, now that's over, I'll be looking forward to replying to your comments below. And so yeah, take care and have a great day.